The hum of the plane was soft and steady, like a lullaby for those drifting between time zones and destinations. Daniel Cross, CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the world, sat in first class with his laptop open and his shoulders heavy. His tie was loosened, eyes bloodshot from 3 nights without sleep. The deal he had just closed in Singapore would make his company billions, but it had also cost him something he hadn't yet named, something that showed in the slump of his posture and the dull ache behind his eyes. When the flight attendant asked if he'd like something to drink, he waved her off. He was too tired even for coffee. He just wanted silence. But then, a small voice broke it. "You look tired, sir," said a little girl from the seat beside him. Daniel blinked, startled. He hadn't realized there was anyone sitting next to him, let alone a child. She couldn't have been more than 7. Her brown curls were slightly messy, her eyes large and curious, and in her lap was a worn-out teddy bear missing one ear. "I'm fine," Daniel said softly, forcing a small smile. "Just a bit busy with work." The girl tilted her head, unconvinced. "My daddy says people who say they're fine usually aren't." Daniel let out a quiet breath. "Your daddy sounds very wise." "He's in heaven," she said matter-of-factly, looking out the window. "But I think he can still see me." The words hit him harder than he expected. For the first time in a long while, Daniel felt his throat tighten. "I'm sorry," he managed to say, his voice quieter now. "It's okay," she said with a shrug that was too mature for her age. "Mommy says he's watching over us, and that we shouldn't be sad forever. She says people who love you want you to smile." She turned toward him again. "You don't smile much." Daniel's lips twitched. "You noticed that? You look like my mommy before she drinks her coffee, tired and serious." He chuckled softly, and for a moment, the weight on his chest lifted. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily," she said proudly, clutching her teddy bear. "And this is Mr. Buttons." Daniel nodded. "Nice to meet you both." The little girl giggled. "You didn't shake his hand." With a sigh and a grin he hadn't worn in months, Daniel shook the stuffed bear's paw. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Buttons." The girl leaned closer, whispering like they were sharing a secret. "He likes you. He says you're sad inside." Daniel blinked, caught off guard again. "Does he now?" "But don't worry, he says you'll be okay soon." Daniel looked at her for a long moment, unable to find the right words. Something about her innocence, her warmth, it broke through walls he didn't even know he'd built. The seatbelt sign dinged, and the plane began its gentle climb. Lily's mother, a kind-faced woman sitting across the aisle, smiled apologetically. "I hope she's not bothering you." "Not at all," Daniel said quickly, meaning it. "She's very bright." "Thank you," her mother replied softly. "She's been through a lot." As the flight continued, Lily talked about her school, her friends, and her dream of becoming a nurse, because nurses help people feel safe. Daniel listened more than he spoke. He couldn't remember the last time he'd listened this closely to anyone. When she started to doze off, she leaned her head on his arm, and he froze, but then relaxed, letting her sleep. For once, he closed his laptop, set it aside, and just stared at the clouds outside. He didn't realize he was smiling again until the flight attendant walked by and did a double take. Part 2. The flight landed in New York just after sunrise. Passengers stirred, gathering their bags and belongings. Daniel moved carefully so as not to wake Lily, who was still sleeping against his arm. Her mother thanked him again. As they stood to leave, and Daniel handed the teddy bear back to her. "You have a wonderful daughter," he said sincerely. "She reminded me of a few things I forgot." The woman smiled warmly. "She has that effect on people." Daniel hesitated before asking, "Would it be all right if I—" But before he could finish, Lily stirred and yawned. "Are we there yet?" she asked sleepily. "Almost," Daniel said. "You should wake up, Mr. Buttons." She rubbed her eyes and gave him a sleepy smile. "He says you need to rest too." Daniel chuckled. "I'll try." As they said goodbye at the terminal, Lily waved enthusiastically. "Bye, Mr. Tired CEO," she called. He raised an eyebrow. "How did you know I'm a CEO?" "Mr. Buttons told me," she said, giggling, before her mother led her away into the crowd. Daniel stood there for a moment, watching them disappear. He didn't understand why he felt such a hollow ache in his chest, but it stayed with him long after he got home. The next day, for the first time in years, he didn't rush to his office at dawn. He made coffee slowly. He looked out at the sunrise and realized he hadn't watched one in years. The world felt quieter, but also clearer. He took a walk to the park later that morning, without his phone, without a schedule. He passed a small playground and saw a little girl helping another child who had fallen. Her laughter echoed softly in the air, and for a second, he thought of Lily. The memory stirred something inside him, a longing not for success, but for meaning. That night, Daniel drafted an email to his HR department. He wanted to start a company-wide program for single parents, to offer flexible hours and child support. He also pledged to fund a new children's wing at the city hospital, dedicated to kids like Lily, who carried more courage than most adults he knew. Months passed. His company flourished, but Daniel's life changed in quieter ways. He visited schools, volunteered on weekends, and smiled more often. One evening, while attending a hospital fundraiser, he heard a familiar laugh. Turning around, he saw Lily again, holding a red balloon, her mother beside her. She ran up to him with pure delight. "Mr. Tired CEO," she squealed. Daniel laughed, kneeling to her level. "Not tired anymore," he said. "See." She studied him for a moment and nodded seriously. "Mr. Button says he's proud of you. Tell him I said thank you," Daniel replied, feeling his throat tighten. "You were right, Lily. I'm okay now." She grinned and handed him the balloon. "Keep this so you don't forget to smile." Daniel took it gently, the red balloon reflecting the soft light of the hall. In that simple moment, between laughter, memory, and gratitude, he realized that a little girl on a plane had done what no success ever could. She had made him remember how to live again.